Rolling booking. Okay, 6 o'clock, it's April 1st. Like to call. Call to order the Swanton Selectboard, regular scheduled meeting. You would please rise and join us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we do the agenda review, did not realize we're gonna have quite so many guests tonight, and I think that part of this is the scouts and it was leadership or
They're working on communications,
communications.
yeah, so they have to attend the meeting and take notes and different opinions on. Different topics,
Okay, would do folks like to introduce yourself?
so I'm Tristan Hoyk.
Okay,
I'm Kayla Bennett. I'm Declan Rideau.
all right, well, welcome back to our meeting. All right, we're gonna go with agenda review. Dina, we'll start your way. Kathy,
I'm good, thank you.
cool.
Like to talk about promote Swanton. And the proposal you have in front of you.
Vote down business, we'll put that as item F. Yep. All right, I don't have anything, Nick,
I want to give an update on the corporal letter of board historical marker that the cemetery commission has been working on.
okay, that's probably Newtown business.
And I also have a question about an email Brian sent out about the town garage and the state using it. Or,
Okay, we'll call that Old Town business because we have briefly talked about it. Okay. Steve?
Yeah, but
Brian?
under Old Town Business Swanton Historical Society, I received a call from Heather last Friday. Requesting that be postponed until our next meeting of April 15th. She's continuing commitment.
Okay, and as we heard earlier, the microphone isn't picking us up too well on the Zoom, so if everyone could try to maybe speak just a hair louder. Well, okay, with that said, meeting topics, we're gonna move into the minutes, regular select board meeting of March 18th, 2025, and the special select board meeting of March 25, 2025. Entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
I'll second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve both sets of minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed. So moved. Public comments, this is from anybody on Zoom, do we even have anybody tonight?
No.
I don't see anybody. Somebody in the crowd, for something that is not on our regular scheduled agenda.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So my name's John Underwood, I'm with the Swanton Selectboard. And we're just wondering when the bylaws are gonna be reviewed. It seems to keep getting pushed back.
I believe tonight we will set it for the agenda for the next meeting. 15th. Yep.
Yeah.
That changes, we will let you know. I'll pass it to Betsy if that's not the case. Anybody else under public comment? All right, we're gonna move right under law enforcement. Pete, how you doing this evening?
Well, are you?
Good, how was vacation? You recharge the batteries?
Yeah, a little bit.
Little bit. Good. Vacation's important.
As these are going around, you'll see there were 59 incidents in the month of March. Of those 59 incidents, top 10 incident types were 16 traffic stops, 11 directed patrols, 4 alarms, 3 motor vehicle complaints, 2 citizen disputes, 2 agency assists, 2 VIN verifications. It's like 1 BLS or driving license suspended. 1 wanted person, and then I can't read what that last one is there. But in any case, out of those 16 traffic stops, there were 11 tickets issued and 17 warnings. Or I'm sorry, More specifically, I guess 9 tickets and 15 of the warnings were associated with traffic. And I'd have to look at the other 2 were probably municipal violations. There were 4 arrests of 4 individuals and 9 charges. And 2 of those arrests were associated with traffic, but multiple charges were associated with one of those incidents, which wasn't pursuit. That ended up in Cambridge. Actually, where it came to rest.
What was the stop there originally for?
The officer was originally attempting to stop the operator for speeding. And when the officer attempted to initiate the stop, which was on I-89 southbound, just after he got on the highway, he saw him speeding, estimated speeding over 50 miles per hour. Kind of on the side of First Street there before he got on the highway. That the individual took off at speeds in excess of 30 miles per hour. And then another officer deployed spikes just down at the next exit 20 around there, and he managed to deflate one of the tires on the vehicle. The operator decided he was going to keep driving on the ramp. So thankfully the spikes slowed the pursuit down to more reasonable speeds, but it didn't conclude until he made it to Cambridge. Ended up getting off on exit 19 and then headed on 104 in Fairfax and then made his way to Cambridge.
Wow.
So
Dangerous driving.
yeah, and thankfully nobody was injured, and so we do a pursuit review whenever anything like that happens. So Sergeant is reviewing that incident. You know, to see how it aligns with policy and then review it with the officers involved.
What other police departments called in?
Other police departments were involved, I think, like state police, my understanding was mirroring, and I believe Franklin County Sheriffs were also involved. But this occurred while I was away, so I wasn't recommending, but in any case, yes, generally speaking, if you have an incident like that, other agencies will try to parallel the pursuit. I mean, we don't want a line of cruisers generally traveling at highway speed. Generally, we want only 2 cruisers, a primary and a secondary, actively involved in the pursuit itself. And then other cruisers are trying to mirror to be in the area or get up in front of you and deploy spikes, as what happened in this example, to you know, slow that vehicle down.
Time with that.
I want to say it was pretty early, like 6 o'clock. Maybe, let me see. That was the incident 5:21. You know, it's listed later on the tickets there, but I want to say the officer made the initial observation a little after 6. So let's see, 6:44 p.m. No. And that's what we're trying to do, you know, these are tough situations, as the officers have to make judgments on the fly. And they need to weigh the government interest in seizing that individual versus the danger posed to the public.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so they're definitely difficult situations for law enforcement to do. There was also 5.5 additional service hours, which is represented on the last 2 pages of the printout here. And just in front of that, you'll see the rest.
What the prompts of unarrest for excessive speed? There are certain,
I believe it was, yeah, and I don't know, I may not have this right off the top of my head, but it may be in excess of 20 miles per hour or 30 miles per hour is kind of the
threshold
the
of,
threshold where you can, it's one of those 2, where you can consider actually citing the person for excessive speed versus just a civil violation, traffic ticket for speed.
okay. Any other questions? The chief?
I will say we have been pretty busy, so I've put out 5 new policies since the beginning of the year. A missing persons policy, an investigation and some criminal procedure policy, a domestic violence response policy, and that's for investigating domestic violence response incidents, which are also some of the more dangerous incidents that we investigate. Grant funded details and extra duty jobs, and then we were in the process, in the course of this pursuit review, we realized there was some discrepancies in the pursuit policy and the operations policy. So that was all, those changes were also made today and will be pushed out tomorrow. The other thing that I'd like to add is obviously we have 2 open positions, full-time positions right now. We have had some pretty strong candidates express interest in the open positions that we have, which is encouraging. If we could get those people on board, it would be great. Because again, for example, we have an officer on vacation now, and so we're scrambling to fill those shifts. So because we just don't have a buffer as far as staffing goes. And we just onboarded, we had 1 part-time officer who has 3 years prior experience in Massachusetts. She just successfully completed the part-time academy. And so we're in the process, we're trying to get her through a level 3 waiver with the state of Vermont, but that's kind of an evolving process where we're going back and forth with the academy to make sure she has the appropriate training before they're going to sign off on her as a full-time level 3 officer in the state of Vermont. But hopefully we'll be able to do that. And she's interested in part-time employment currently. She'll be entering field training here next week. But at some point when her children are a little older, she's expressed interest in going full-time also, so. So that's a positive as far as the staffing goes.
Alright. Think we're all set, Chief. Alright, thank you very much. Thank you. Swanton Health Officer report.
Who's behind your paper?
One that says minus 2025 Swanton Health report. Alright, thank you. Give everybody a minute to take a look at that if they haven't seen it, I haven't.
Where is 36 Northwest Street? That's the property that was a tax sale.
Oh.
Again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright. There's no questions, we will move on. Looks like she's getting the 2 or 3 that was discussed when Chip took the position. Okay, under 6, normally do the highway updates just once a month, but we want to get the paving bids out. So Brian sent that to everybody. And a little bit of a miscommunication, and then he changed it, but I made it even clearer, I think. So we can take a quick look at, this is just the big schedule, not the roads or the distances. But basically what I put on this bid schedule is the estimated tons. So everyone will be bidding on the 4,800. They can write in their cost per ton. And then the total contract amount, and then there's a note, because we don't know what they're gonna bid per ton. We have a limit on in our budget, so we're only gonna award up to funds available. And payment is on the actual quantity placed, but I think for actual bid purposes, this ought to take care of any concerns. We don't have any milling like we did last year, so. If everyone's good with that, I will send you.
Well, you're gonna have a bid on 4,800 tons.
Right. And there's the list of the
Yeah,
roads and
yeah.
stuff, but that's the quantity. If they, one might give us 49.50 and one might give us 46.50. And they don't know until they get out there and start doing it. The shim amount's very hard to estimate because of the different roads and what they need for shim, but.
That's all of the roads we're talking about.
Yes, for the. This is for the ones we had the money for. We are applying for a class 2 grant. To do some paving on McQuam Shore and County Road. But that isn't included in this. We don't know if we're gonna get the grant. And that grant would just, if we got it for 2025, we would just add it to the amount we're gonna do, work out a change order with a. Successful contractor, and then I guess I'll even add that doesn't include. Paving at the town garage. Or up on Swanton Hill, cause we don't know when those are gonna be ready, as we discussed that and.
So this portion of Swan Hill isn't where we're doing the slash.
Sweet Hollow,
Oh, Sweet Hollow, yeah, Sweet Hollow.
yeah, that's Sweet Hollow, so correct.
Is there gonna be enough money in that project, what we got set aside to cover the paving?
That was the plan, yeah.
What was he had some additional paving he didn't wanna do up there too, he's not, besides they were working.
Yeah, they wanna do basically the whole road,
Yeah,
and that was, yeah,
yeah,
that's. That's the plan, that he said all paved after the blasting. Speaking of blasting, I think that's the next item.
do we need to make a motion to approve the request for bids for paving?
That would probably be good to make that as part of the record.
All right, then I'll make a motion that we approve the town paving bids for 2025 as presented at the meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made in second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Next up, we want to get out fairly soon, but we're gonna hold a little bit because we have a couple of temporary construction easements we've got to get done. But this is a request to do the blasting up on Swanton Hill, put together a little request for proposal. Discussed it with Tyler Billingsley from East Engineering. And we think we're fine with what we've got here. There's only a couple of people in the region that are even qualified, so we're probably only gonna get a couple bidders. But if folks are good with this, if you could get at least a head nod that when we're ready to go out, we could go out with this. You gotta do the blasting before we can do the rest of the road work.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that, because there's only a couple of them anyway. That we send this to them or call
Oh, definitely,
them. Yeah, because had an interest.
we've got the names of the
Yeah.
two that Kevin had worked with, we will get that to them and then they'll post this as
Yeah.
well, but yes, so we will definitely do that.
Well, I'll make a motion that we go forward with this blasting proposal as presented.
No, second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the blasting proposal as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. The next item, we talked about it a little bit, we're gonna go for a structures grant. But I just wanted folks to be aware of these photos, you'll see they're separate photos, to get a real idea of the condition of that culvert up on Berry Road. I believe at one time it was round, the bottom now, it's squatted out to about 11 feet wide, 8 feet tall. And May of 2023, we received a letter from the state who reviewed the site up there and they're proposing a 35-foot wide structure. So we're gonna put in the grant for design, but because of we just not too long ago had a culvert grant from the state. We may not get it, but if we don't get it, I'm gonna propose to the board that we get this design started, because this thing at some point is probably gonna fail. You can see from the pictures, the condition. It is bad. The good news is the material around it's kind of holding it together, but we need to get a design, and the magnitude of the project we're talking about is in the $400,000 to $500,000 to replace that. The only other options are to possibly discontinue that section of road. But that is gonna have an impact mostly on Fairfield residents, but just want people to be thinking about it. We'll talk about it more in the next couple of meetings, but we really should get the design done on it this year. Just putting that out there.
Have you got a quote on the design cost yet?
Yeah, we're talking in the magnitude of about 25,000. It's not a detailed quote, but it's a ballpark quote from engineer that we use.
I just wanna add to what Joel said, I was up there too, The problem is today with the way the extreme weather events are. That's what's doing a lot of damage, it's just, that's not gonna go away, so this thing is gonna, we're gonna lose it, it's only a matter of time. A lot of water does come down through there, especially when you get in heavy rains. But we have money in our that we use in our truck fund, there's a way we could pay for it. I agree with you, Joe, we should get the design going and hoping we can get a grant once we get that done.
Correct.
Yeah,
And even the max we can get from the state is up to 200,000, but I've got a couple of creative ways that I think we can
Yeah.
get the remainder. And even if we have to borrow a little bit over a few years, but
yeah,
we should be doing this construction next spring.
yeah,
And have that completed before the end of summer next year. If we're gonna keep it, I got a general feeling that's the consensus that we would come to, but
well, I mean, we could give that land to Fairfield whole area. Or St. Albans down, but I don't think they'll take it.
it's like the village one, give us the
Yeah,
bridge for.
right, right.
Yeah,
You know, so we're obligated to maintain it.
I don't know if anybody got any other questions, things we can look into for you, but that's, just wanna keep this discussion going until we start the design. And then the other item is I'm asking is the road commissioner, not as the chair tonight. And I know we're gonna very soon go over our purchasing policy and we talked a little bit about it, but I'm asking the board to approve $5,000 for the road commissioner. As of limit right now, it's 3. Just removing some of these trees is over $3,000, and I don't think we need to wait for a board meeting to approve that as long as it's within the budget line item, absolutely. So, if folks are good with that, and like I said, I'm asking that as the road commissioner.
But we'd have to amend our policy specific to the road commissioner.
Well, we haven't completed our review, so tonight it would be the board approving. That amount if they're comfortable with it, and then it would be included in our rewrite of the policy.
If I can make a suggestion, when you do the would be for a temporary increase. For until such time as all the policy is reviewed.
I think that's fine, I mean. And we'll make it work if you don't, but it would just be easier, I think.
And then the other thing is this limit is a budget items only, so if it was something new.
I would come back.
That would have to come back to the board.
It's 5,000 for stuff that is already budgeted,
Yeah.
like the tree removal
Yeah.
or vehicle repairs.
Yeah.
Some of those repairs are over 3,000 when you.
Yeah.
Send the truck down.
Okay, I can make the motion, I'll make the motion to approve, to temporarily increase the spending limit. Of the road foreman from $3,000 to $5,000 until our next review.
The review of the entire policy.
Of the entire policy, yeah,
Yeah, just correct, you said the road foreman needs to be the road commissioner.
road commissioner.
And then you need to add that limited to budget items.
limited, you know, so I'll make a motion to approve the spending limit to increase it from 2,000 to 5,000 for the road commissioner. For as a temporarily, and is there anything else I need to include?
For as long as it's
For long as it's
budgeted.
as is budgeted, yes.
There, second,
I'll second it.
motion's been made and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Old Town Business, we're gonna do that one on the 15th. 2023 and 2024 audit update.
I had prepared something in writing for these, because I didn't know how to be here, and I can't find it, but anyway. I have had a conversation with the managing partner out here at Hand Pipe. They're Chris Goulet. And first, on the 2023 audit, they are still working on the final report of that audit. And he does know that we would like him to come to the board with that report. He understands, but it will have to wait until after April 15th. Because they're right out straight right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's forthcoming. Now, I explained to him and I sent him a copy of the amended accounting policy that we did relative to the 2024 audit. And he's very comfortable with it. It's the right language, and they will be certainly happy to do the 2024 audit for us, again, starting after April 15th. So we'll get that process going.
And we got no responses from when we.
We received
requested.
no responses from, well, we received one response directly from KBS, Bill Brannigan and Sargent, that they just didn't have the resources to take on another municipality. So that's the
Should we get a proposal from them? For
Yes.
2024,
yeah,
before they started, so we'll know.
that's an engagement letter, they'll be doing all that.
They're gonna be a 3 year,
Pardon me?
we're waiting for a 3 year commitment.
Well, that could be, I would, if this, if that's what the board would like to do, sure.
Or longer, and stretch it out, for
Right.
how reasonable the price is.
Right. Yeah.
And,
No, I agree with that, I mean, that's, I mean, we've done our due diligence of putting it out there.
Yeah.
To see if anybody else is interested, and there was no interest, which, from speaking to other people, that was surprising. But we can say, if you'd like, we're looking for a three-year proposal.
Well, continuity is good too.
Right,
You know,
yes, yep, so.
You were saying, Steve, based on your experience, you can get a better price, you think,
Yeah,
because they know they have to go. It doesn't seem likely that in the next 3 years, or if we're gonna be able to find somebody else anyway. If we couldn't find anybody now.
No, but 3 years maybe, you know, we don't know in 3 years what could happen, and maybe things have changed in that market, and then we put it out again. See.
Someone wanna make a motion in,
I'll make that motion,
which is for
3 year commitment.
3 year commitment.
Looking for a 3-year commitment to do
And
the annual audit, beginning with the 2024 audit.
Okay,
I'll second it.
motion's been made and seconded, you got what you need there, Christina, okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state aye. Aye, opposed, so moved. Mono Valley Rail Trail update, we're gonna have a pre-construction meeting Thursday at 2 o'clock. There's been a fair amount of paperwork back and forth now, doing what they call submittals, so we're forwarding those on to the engineer to review and approve, so. Things are looking good after the pre-con on Thursday, hopefully we will give them a notice to proceed. Shortly after that. And actual construction would begin. Working with the village, because they have an electrical connection to make to get power over to that site, and they also have to tap into a water line right here there for the contractor, but both of those departments are ready to make it happen, so things are looking up for getting that project moving. That's good to hear.
What's your target date for completion?
The contract completion date is 1 August of 2025. They have a fairly short window. To get things done, so it's nice to see the paperwork flowing for the approvals right now, because they need to get moving concrete to pour and stuff to put up. All right, moving on to library project update. I think Brian get that for us.
Right, okay, a couple of things here. First of all, in your packet, we received a quote from Menard Handyman Property Services to do the remainder of the work there that needs to be done for the I call it prep work for the installation of the insulation. Then what we had Joel wanted Christina to do, which she did, was take Laz's specs and then put in red what each item number that Mr. Menard has bid on. The total price that he bid for that work is $7,860. And so there's that.
Anybody else bid, Brian?
No. But we didn't really put it out, this was, did in the amount our policy allows it to go under.
15,000, I believe.
Yeah. So then we've got, Laz communicated with me earlier, Monday, I believe, this week. Dates that things would start happening there. He's spoken with the installation company, he's spoken with the and then get Patrick in line, and then the mechanical work that has to be done, removing the ductwork and then reinstalling. And he wanted to start with that first, removing the ductwork. And that would have fallen into the week of school vacation, which there's a lot of programs going on at the library. So it would be that week, plus the following 2 weeks, the library would be closed. So I said, well, that's not gonna work. Abby wasn't available on Monday, but we left it with Laz. Says, I'm gonna call Abby tomorrow. We'll work out, see what will work if we just move everything a week. And then we'll get back to Laz and see what's open.
So it's gonna be 3 weeks below.
Well, that's what it looks like, 2.5 anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be the ideal time would be right after the vacation, but
Yeah, before it gets too hot,
Yeah.
and it's not really that cold.
yeah.
No, it looks like things are lining up pretty good. I know with Menard, flexibility wise and so on, it kind of makes sense, and we've had a hard time getting bids on some of the smaller construction work. So I think the flexibility is gonna help as far as making this timeline happen.
Plus he does a good job.
And they haven't cut the hole to look in the entry.
No, because that's in here to be done with that. Menard has been awaiting parts for those windows.
Yeah.
Before he gets back over there and does that part of the
Yeah.
job.
You probably do that at the same time and check.
Well, yeah, I don't think once he gets in there, it won't take him that long to do, but is it wait for the part.
So I think we probably should entertain a motion to approve this work. It's within our budget. We talked about last time for those repairs. It's
The only thing that wasn't added on that budget was, I haven't seen anywhere, and maybe I didn't see it, but this rain gutters after it's done.
We've gotten quotes before for that, but that's through a separate contractor.
Yeah, I know, I understand that, but we should figure that in as part of this job,
Or go out for a separate.
yeah, or go out,
Get it separate.
yeah,
we
get
should-
it done, yeah,
We should take a look at rain gutters and also snow guards,
yeah,
at least
Yep.
over that main entrance, there should be.
Yeah.
Some snow guards put on that standing seam metal roof.
yeah.
So when we approve this now, we get it ready to
Yeah.
go, and then we look into the other stuff.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the Menard handyman work as identified on the sheet of paper we're presented tonight.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded, any further discussion? Here are none, all those in favor state aye. Opposed, so moved. Question on vacancy on Northwest Regional Planning. I think the note we got there is we thought we had a candidate and the candidate is not gonna be able to do that. And so if folks could take a look, and if we get anybody, make a suggestion and we'll go from there.
Is that something we should advertise?
Yes,
We certainly could on our yeah.
put it on the sign out there too.
Okay. Promote Swanton.
But
Do you wanna do it or you want me to do it?
you're real good.
I don't know about that, so in efforts to continue to promote our community. One of the things that we were looking at, especially since we didn't receive proposals for graphic design. For the signs was visual branding and logos for that and for more consistency within our community. So Earl and I met with a gentleman from Syncrosity, had a really great meeting, and he feels that he could create that graphic design, which encompasses that really overall Swanton view to be put on a sign and or our website, as well as used for other publications. All while creating a brand guide for our community to help us continue to promote ourselves out in the brand or in the Vermont dynamic. So here is the proposal that he had put together and kind of a breakdown, which I think is really nice because it can really see, what that graphic design logo is. And well, it does say the company is out of North Carolina. He is a local to South Hero gentleman.
And I actually lived in Vermont, that's one. Back
Like in the eighties, early
Yeah.
eighties,
Yeah.
nineties.
One thing I noticed looking at this proposal, it looks like they're gonna give us 3 to 4 variations and give us an opportunity
Yeah,
to
yeah.
comment, so that's good, that's good.
After giving this some thought, I mean, it's kind of a big thing for the community. And we were thinking maybe we get this done something decided real quick, but we're gonna have, I believe we should put this out for the public to see too. Before any final decisions are made.
As far as the graphic design,
Yeah. I don't know, what's your thoughts on that, I mean, I don't wanna, if somebody doesn't like it, I don't wanna say they didn't know anything about it.
I mean, I encourage the community to be part of the process,
I know
for
you
sure.
do, I know.
I mean, when I did put the vote out there, they did come back saying they'd like to see a graphic design, so if they see that we worked on. Having an actual design, I think they would be excited to share their feedback.
Yeah, maybe if we came up with 3, we could put them 3 out too, the 3 that we would like to see.
I don't see anything wrong with public input,
Yeah.
it makes sense. And some point decisions gotta be made, so figuring out that process and then we go from there, but
This is a little bit more than what I actually had when we talked, I think we put aside 6,000 from the special fund. To cover the update on the website itself, plus some of this. We may end up getting a little over that now, cause I was thinking it was only gonna be 1,500. I'm thinking that probably another 1,000 max. So we'd have to get,
6 or 7,000.
yeah, we're at 6 now, I'm saying 7 should cover everything.
Where was that money gonna come from?
Special funds, ARPA money.
Yeah, there's still roughly 160,000, and we talked about keeping it as a capital.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, which is basically the balance of uncommitted, but. Yeah, if someone wants to make a motion to increase that from 6,000 to 7,000, if they're comfortable with this, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, because I believe we could, he could have us something fairly soon.
Yeah, as soon as this proposal is accepted, he seems to think there's a fairly quick turnaround on this, so we would get something very quickly.
Yeah. And this guy does have his company in Charlotte, right? I think it's in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Cause he was from Vermont, but he wasn't doing enough business here, so he moved down there and we've got like 14 employees down there, but he lives up here. He really has a lot of ties to this area, you know, and he's worked for. A lot of organizations, and I've seen some of his work actually over in the island. He does a lot like for North Hero and Grand Isle. You know, for their Apple Festival and all that stuff, he does a lot of that design work for them, you know, so he's really committed to, you know, communities like Swan, like.
You need an motion,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, is that the only graphic design place you talked to?
Well, we tried to get more of them, but we
put
didn't
out
get a lot of responses.
You didn't get a lot.
No,
Not, we put out an RFP, nobody responded, so then
Yeah.
we reached out, or Earl reached out.
Okay,
I make a motion, we increase the allotment from 6,000 to 7,000, that should cover this.
Yeah.
It's
I can second it.
Motion been made and second, any further discussion?
Should it say from special funds?
Yeah. Yeah, for the special funds that were set for promotes on.
So we can go ahead and accept this proposal, it's just a click of a button to say yes.
Well, let's
get the motion to.
we'll get that motion and we should get a second.
Yeah.
For that.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor state aye.
alright,
Alright,
Opposed, so moved, so now motion to go ahead and. Have Brian sign this,
It's just a click of a button, so Brian, or I think they sent it to Christina, but Christina can send it to Brian.
I make a motion to have Brian approve the within us. Simplicity Web Designs LLC. Proposal. Of $2,400.
for a second,
I'll second that.
motion been made and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye. Aye. Opposed, so moved, anything more on promotes on?
When you accept the contract, they want 50%,
50%, yeah, that's part of it.
just so you know.
Hey. Anything else from promotes on?
No, that'll be it for tonight.
Alright, Old Town Garage, Nick.
Yeah, just the question I have, was there any conclusion to it? Are you gonna allow the safety use the curb?
Yes,
Okay.
they're not using the garage, what they're doing is they're parking a construction trailer, small construction trailer on our property at the town garage. They are, it's W. Whitcomb,
Yes.
the paving contractor, has got the contract to resurface both lanes of Interstate 89 from St. Albans to the Canadian border. So the little office trailer, there's engineer be in it. So consensus of the board was fine with it, because it doesn't cause any problems in our guys.
How many vehicles do they have parked here?
Just the one trailer.
Oh, yeah, but going into the hill, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they said for the engineer, so. it's-
They cut the pickup or two, it's not their construction vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just an office trailer.
Yeah,
That's exciting to hear that the highway's getting,
Yes,
it
yes.
definitely needs it.
definitely.
That's all I have.
Alright, under Newtown business, we put Corporal Leonard Lord,
That's me. So on March 20th, the Historic Preservation Commission of Vermont approved a historical roadside marker for Corporal Leonard Lord, who was the first casualty in Vermont, from Vermont during World War One. He was, so we've been working on this as a cemetery commission, and I want to give a lot of credit to John Kaczynski, Who's been spearheading the effort to get the marker, created, is gonna be put at Riverside Cemetery. Where we have a target date of holding the ceremony and holding a reception to the ceremony. When it comes to revealing the marker on April 12th of next year. So we're going to, it's been sent to the foundry, or the foundry I think is working on it, or gonna be working on it. And we're hoping to invite a bunch of people and include some big names hopefully, and it should be a good event for Swanton.
Will this be on the roadside or in the cemetery itself?
But when I could tell us a little bit in this.
A little bit in the cemetery, but visible from the road.
Yeah, you don't wanna get it too close to that road.
It's not gonna be down by his grave, and it would be out of the road right away.
Yeah.
But you'd be able to see it. And it says, a lot of people look for those markers, so if they come through and see it, well, they'll circle back and see what it says. And then maybe, I don't know, if the corporal lower the grave is in the rear of the cemetery. So I don't know if we can have a little directional sign that the cemetery commission can put up, that would meet the criteria of the historical, right? I thought of that after.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the marker now, this little marker saying this way, you know.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't think there's anything else related to it. I think that's pretty much it.
When the time comes for, the state will provide the posts and everything.
Yeah.
The town will have to provide some labor, you know, cut it in the guys, dig a hole, some concrete and sink it in. But I said, you know, that's something that the cemetery commissioners and the board can talk with, and I mean, we can take it out of the funds if we have to go to the cemetery commission.
Yeah.
But this is it's a, you know, it's we have very few historical markers in the community.
I don't think we have any, that's what I was gonna say, yeah,
Right.
we don't have any.
And well, no, that's not the official.
That's not a state.
How about the one for the monument?
Well, that's Sheriff's Heights.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but we would like to get some for over here, both for Lieutenant Stephen Brown from Gettysburg, and then Erastus Jewett, First Congressional Medal of Honor recipient in Swanton. That's we're gonna work on getting one first, and then we'll work on getting a double-sided one later.
That, we're gonna, yeah, this is gonna take a lot of planning, so
Yeah.
probably not till after the ceremony for this one.
The state doesn't willy-nilly just hand these things out in the period.
Is this the anniversary date?
April 12th is the anniversary.
Because 2018.
Yeah.
In our Veterans Memorial Park, we did a
Yes.
ceremony, we had General Patton's granddaughter.
Yeah.
And there's another one that I wasn't thinking about this tonight, so it's not coming to me, grandson. Who came up and spoke, another famous person at that, it was quite a to-do, so what I'm gonna recommend too, is you get closer to your plannings, talk to the National Guard.
Right.
Cause they had a big part in that ceremony, and they might provide some honor guard or something.
Oh, yeah,
They're on the list.
they're on the list.
Yeah, so that could be quite a good event.
We'll have a direct dial to Camp Johnson there. It's but no, we wanna make it a very dignified ceremony, and April 12th fall on a Sunday that year, next year. And so yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
Sergeant York,
Sergeant York.
it was his relative that spoke there, so we had Patton's and Sergeant York's relatives there, it was pretty nice. Anything else regarding that?
I think we've covered it all,
There's a
so.
lot of potential for that, that's great, you know. Want to take a quick second before I ask for a recess. To see if the scouts had any questions or anything, I know this meeting's probably going on a little bit, and you're also welcome, we got a little bit more to do, but. If you don't wanna stay, this might be a good time, you could just stand up and walk out, and it's up to you. Any more? I think so. You all set?
Yes, thank you.
All right, very good. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Alright, entertain a motion to recess the select board meeting and enter the liquor control board.
I'll make the motion to recess the select board meeting into the liquor control board.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Alright,
It's just basically a tobacco license and tobacco substitute license for hometown Sonoma, and there's no violations.
and there's no other, so you want only one, right?
Yes, that's the only one.
I'll make a motion that we approve the tobacco license and tobacco substitute license for hometown Sonoma.
Do I hear a second? Motion's been made and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I'll make a motion to adjourn our liquor control meeting and re-enter our regular select board meeting.
Here a second.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Community economic development,
Nothing to do with the report.
okay, any other necessary business? Correspondence? Public comment? John, Bob, all good? Nobody logged in tonight? Okay. Upcoming events,
Thursday, April 10, 2025, 5:30 P M. The planning commission will meet at the town offices and by Zoom. Tuesday, April 15, 2025, 6 P M will be a regular select board meeting here at the town offices and by Zoom. Friday, April 18th, 2025, town offices and operations will be closed in observance of Good Friday. Thursday, April 24th, 2025, the DRB will host a meeting here at the town offices and by Zoom, and that's at 6 P M.
And I just got one more to add, East in the Park by the Swanton Chamber of Commerce is happening on April 19th at 9 o'clock. And I would recommend showing up at 8:45 because it goes fast,
It does, very bad.
very fast.
Yeah, eggs are hard to come by, you aren't they this year?
Well, I don't think the plastic was it.
before we go into executive session, we working up the for our birthday party for
Yes,
us,
yeah.
working that up,
We're
so
working it out, that was in my comments, so watch your emails, be sending out a rough draft here before the next meeting of it, so you know, we could.
and if we figure out a good way to present it, the VFW is also gonna give them $100 gift certificate to go out and eat. And a couple members of the VFW show up as well, so
Yeah, I could do it all, get.
try to do it all at the same time, and
Do it all,
maybe a call with a messenger, if
Yep,
something we should check with him and the family, but it'd be nice if the messenger even that, you know, we have involved, so. Something for us to think about. Alright, that's it, except for executive session,
Okay, I'll make the motion, I move that we find that we entered executive section for the select board to receive confidential and contract and personal information for which the premature disclosure of it to the general public would clearly place the select board and others at substantial disadvantage.
and a second, motion's been made and seconded. No, we don't have to do roll call, but we'll get down now, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
I move that based on our just made findings that the premature disclosure to place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage, we enter executive session.
Any second,
I'll second.
motion been made and second, any further discussion? All in favor state aye. Aye. Opposed, so moved. We're in executive session.
See.
It's coming from that, it's like, oh, here we go.
Machine heart attack.
In my office, it plays the 1812 overture.
Okay, there you go, is that recorder on? Alright, so we have both recorders on?
Yep.
alright.
How come it's, there's a video, no?
So that,
Yeah.
all right, and I'm making a motion that we exit executive session and whatever, 16 or 17.
I'll second.
Motion's been made, second, come out of executive session, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, no action taken in executive session, your Nichols Steve.
I just wanted to talk about some ways to get prepared for our April 15th meeting, at which time we should have a good set of bylaws. It's really been an interesting process, because first of all, the other one's 15 years old, and this change is gonna be significant. You got a lot of stuff to add in there, they're only bringing it up to date, but I want to make sure that within this policy, we have a good system of checks and balances. I don't want to see us put too much power in one area, which would sometimes stifle the participation by the committee that does a good job. I want to make sure at the same time, this represents good oversight by the board of the taxpayers' money. And let's see, I got the loan issues paid off. And I refer to this as dual control. We use it all the time. There's always got to be somebody standing not over your shoulder, but most everything you do, you have to have two people involved. Well, this policy can do that. So we've got a lot of players that have stepped forward. This is, you take all of the correspondence, this is about what it is. And so it tells me that we have a lot of very interested people. I received a copy of, the other thing is nothing comes in dated. I saw something, I think it was February 24th, which was from Christina. So I'm assuming that document was around that time. It's not anybody's fault, because we don't date things when they come in here, unfortunately. I wish we had a stamp that said received, who the sender was and whatever. If we get documents that come into this meeting and not dated, it'd be much easier for reference. But I have one here that it looks like it came from a meeting with Betsy, Nicole, and Joel. Pretty good job. Then I've got one which is 24-25. And it looks like some of the things that were recommended in this one didn't appear in this draft that came from the trio. So what I'm going to suggest is that maybe we sit down between now and the 15th, however we do it, try to come up with a consensus of all of this stuff, which does appear in these things, and put together a document that when we come to the 15th, we'll say, this is what we'd like to see approved. And it can be somebody from the board. I would volunteer to do it. Somebody from the rec committee. Maybe Christina as our scribe, or Brian as our scribe. And by the end of the week before the meeting, or a couple of days before the meeting, we'll have a document to hand them.
Well, that's a possibility, there was no real intention with the meeting that I had, that I discussed with you, and I discussed at the last meeting, and I was gonna get that document out. If there's something that was left out that we thought should be in there, then we can have that discussion then. Because what's gonna happen now is we're gonna get another copy of something sent out.
Yeah, that's what I mean, we keep getting them.
Yeah, well, what we agreed upon before the last meeting, and then I'll say, I guess as I look in hindsight. I probably shouldn't have gone over, I had a separate meeting, and I told you that I had a separate meeting set up with the rec. So we got talking about it, and I thought there were some ways to take stuff that was put as an addendum. And actually get it into the actual body where it belonged. And they don't use that other committee they talked about, so we took that out of there. And so we combined that and sent it out for review, and if there's something we missed, or omitted, then we can have that discussion about putting it back in, or we can back up to the document that Christina sent out and start with that. I'm comfortable with that,
What I think, we should just hammer out the details and make at the April 15th meeting, get a final draft and then approve it. At the next following meeting. If everybody agrees on what we talked about at the April 15th meeting. I think that having an extra meeting would. Not properly warning it, would probably create more confusion than anything else.
Well, let me put this, I sent out, I looked these over, I spent hours trying to tie them in. If this one is different from this one. Not by a lot, but it's different. So I came up with some thoughts that we could include, but I'm not sure which one I'm including it in. If it's the one that the three of you met, then that's fine.
Can I make a suggestion?
Pardon me?
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
The last one that Nicole did, and I sat with her and we went through line for line for all the emails. Everybody take that and review it, send it to me and Nicole, and we'll sit together and give you one document.
but you already did that.
Yeah, but
Seems like it's not enough though.
what do you do if somebody says, I want this, and the next guy says he doesn't want it?
But you guys just decide, that's what's happening.
Well,
So you're gonna put that in the document?
well, we have a new baseline, and in this one, that's the one we want to use. For discussion and design going forward, that's fine, let's all agree that it's gonna be. This, one.
Which is the
last one.
Which is the one that Joel would have sent out.
yeah, I think that's,
and that's the one that you made
Yeah.
some comments on,
Okay.
so, and you got some comments that you made.
Okay.
So we use that as a starting point, you've got comments, you've got comments, I've got some comments, I haven't, there's some things I don't even agree on there. But I've left them on
Might
there,
need some information.
if we use that as the baseline, and that's what we.
Print it for you if you
what
want
we
to
use for the
tomorrow.
15th.
so. Nick had his comment, you've got some, I think Earl had one that he shot out earlier. And I've got some things, this is mainly for clarification. As we go forward, we've got some pretty talented people around this committee and on the rec committee, whatever. But they all bring with them institutional knowledge. Every time we have a new member, and most every time, we're gonna lose that institutional knowledge. So the clearer that these policies become, the better off they're gonna be in serving us. So that's my other reason for being very, very exact. There's nothing left to say, well, I think that's what it is. We wanna make sure it's very clear. And that's what I did in these here,
Okay.
in these comments here.
Well, what I'm gonna suggest is we use the last one that Joel sent out.
Good.
And, because we got, I understand got all these coming. They keep getting refined, I would use that one right there, and then I would list my concerns or whatever on that.
No, that's what you've done, Steve's done that and Nick's done that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you can, I sent this to Brian and Joel on the 28th. Copy this, I don't care what you do with it, and copy it to the other.
Yeah.
so you'll see
Yeah,
what
I've
it's
seen
like.
it.
I sent it.
We got it. I got it.
I sent it as part of it.
Yeah.
And you were copied on it, I sent,
I don't give a, how I take copies, but.
okay,
So
so.
you sent this out to the members, this is the one.
I think you actually sent it to all of us.
So I just sent it to you and Brian.
Okay,
I seen it,
alright, and I did send it,
Okay, good.
I thought everybody did.
but I would have copied you on it,
Well,
when I sent to everybody, I sent it.
You gotta put stars after that for me.
I actually sent it to both addresses too. So, cause I don't, yeah,
No, I would, I think we should just use that one, you've already got your work done, so but it wasn't really warned for tonight, so we can't do.
well, we're not gonna review it,
No, no, we're just
15th
talking
is
about
what we said,
Yeah,
well, we said for tonight,
Yeah.
but then, no, so we're good,
yeah,
I think.
but it's gonna have to be warned, I hope you don't warn too much other things, if we can help it. Because that might be a long discussion.
I bet if we do this the way that I'm envisioning it, by the time we can get this to the 15th of April, we're gonna have a document that's probably gonna be ready to go. I mean, I hope,
I think there's some difference of opinion we're gonna spend some time on.
okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
not hours, that's what I'm
I
talking about.
I don't. I bet we'll be an hour.
Yeah, an hour is still,
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, that's what we need to do, we need to sit down.
yeah, we need to get it done, that's because it's been, you know, I certainly understand what the poll's saying. You know, I can see the frustration, that's not good.
That vote in May would be fast, if we do it in May, it'd be fast, it'd be just.
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Do what, man?
Yeah.
If we have the vote in, we'll hash it out in April and have a vote in May.
Well, I think we have to hash it out, we have to send it to the rec board.
Report.
Well, the rec board meets on the 14th, so it's like, then they won't get a chance to look at it until May, and then it's gonna come back here. And the recreation department's gonna be in the height of its busy season, so some of these things need to get cleared up. So we have a clear understanding of what's gonna happen, because this is our busy season, this is when all of our purchasing is done, this is when our employees come back, this is when. You know, but we have hopes of hiring somebody else, like I said, I'm working 80 to 90 hours a week on all collective things Swanton, I need help. I've asked them for help, they brought it to you guys, it was in the budget, the taxpayers voted for it. We just need to stop waiting and moving along, even if we have to call a special meeting or something, this just needs to get taken care of.
I would go back to the rec board and say, we are gonna hash out on the 15th. Our thoughts on it, and if they meet the 14th, you might recommend they meet after that, I don't know. An extra meeting, I know that may be difficult for them, maybe they push their meeting off 1 week. It's the process, it's, like, I can't. And if you need authority to spend, because right now you don't have any,
Just keep doing what you've been doing, so don't borrow any money.
yeah.
I'm not borrowing any money.
You know, and if we, and we will do the purchasing policy, but I think we do the rec first and then we do the purchasing, it shouldn't take long to fix the purchasing. And to throw the rec in there, so they're actually covered in that purchasing.
Yeah.
To me, it's a shift in how things have been done for many years. Of how the rec board's operated, and the select board now having a little more oversight, but not trying to run the rec department. That's the way I see it, and put some more oversight to make sure some things don't happen and.
And when we get done with this document and it's approved, we gotta send it to the select board, here you go, run with it. Just go do your thing. And we don't need to get involved unless there's a reason. And we're out of your way, go do your stuff.
Yeah, you know, it really dawned on me today, had a few minutes and I took out the town report and I looked, you know, I think that we got a good rec
Yeah.
department and they're doing a lot, but you know, it's $300,000. And it's probably gonna go higher as more activities take place. You know, I guess we gotta kind of modernize things from a policy standpoint, business as usual. You know, it's okay right now, but in the future, you know, who knows who's gonna be around.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if somebody comes up to you in the streets and, I had 2 people come up and talk to me about it.
Yeah.
And I said, we're working with the
Well,
rec committee on putting stuff together, making it more formal and.
here's another thing, now that we gotta put the rec in the purchasing policy, is it gonna be at the same amount?
I threw 2 amounts in there, talking with the rec, whether we would say 1,000, 6,000, 10,000, 100,000. That's for us to discuss on the 15th on
Okay.
who they need.
Yeah.
The full-time person should have some buying authority, just like
Oh,
Kevin
yeah.
has buying authority.
Oh, yeah.
And then the chair,
Yeah.
and whether we have a vice chair or not,
Yeah.
we say, here's your dollar limits, anything beyond that. Come to the select board for the big stuff.
If it's all within budget, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
I mean, everything now we buy is within budget, I don't, you know, it's either within budget or it's an obligation to a grant, other than that, we don't buy it.
But you might have a situation where you needed some special consideration, where you just come to the board, that's all, and we fix it up.
Oh, any more business?
what did I say, are we good?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn, all in favor, state aye. Aye. Opposed, so moved.